Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into how hardship, the tough stuff, doesn't have to break us. In fact, it can be the very thing that makes us stronger. So, let's get into it.
We're all wired to avoid hardship, right? We see it as this destructive thing. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if adversity is actually what forges our deepest strength? It's a really powerful idea, and it kind of goes against everything we think we know about staying safe and comfortable.
And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's what separates someone being broken by an experience from someone being completely transformed by it. And the answer isn't about luck or some kind of magic. It's a real psychological process, something you can actually understand and even learn to do.
Yeah, there's actually a name for it: post-traumatic growth. It's this profound positive change that can happen after a crisis. Now, this isn't about pretending the pain isn't there. Not at all. It's about how that pain can be hammered and shaped into a brand new kind of strength. So today, we're going to break this whole thing down into 3 actionable pillars.
All right, pillar number 1. The first step to turning pain into power starts exactly where the suffering begins, inside your own head. It really is all about the story you tell yourself.
The ancient Stoic philosophers were total pros at this. Their whole thing was, hey, you can't control what happens to you, but you have 100% control over how you see it. The event itself is just neutral. It's the meaning we attach to it that creates our reality, that creates the suffering.
And that right there, that's the mental switch you need to flip. Instead of seeing a setback as a dead end, you reframe it. You see it as a test. Suddenly, that huge, overwhelming burden becomes a challenge, an opportunity to prove to yourself what you're made of.
And this isn't just some old philosophy. It's actually the foundation of modern therapies like CBT. A huge part of CBT is learning to spot those automatic, unhelpful thoughts that keep us stuck in a loop.
So here are a few of the biggest culprits. You've got all or nothing thinking, where everything is either a massive success or a total failure. Then there's catastrophizing, where your mind immediately jumps to the worst-case scenario. And the mental filter, where you zero in on the one bad thing that happened and ignore all the good. Just being able to spot these patterns, that's the first step to choosing a better way to think.
There's another really cool approach from something called narrative therapy. It encourages us to separate ourselves from our problems. You are not your pain. You're a person who is dealing with pain. See the difference? That little bit of distance gives you the room you need to start writing a brand new story for yourself, one that's all about your strengths and what you stand for.
And really, that's what it's all about. It's that shift from feeling like a victim of your own story to becoming the author. You don't ignore the pain, you acknowledge it. But you get to decide what it means and where the story goes from here.
So once you've started to shift your mindset, the next piece of the puzzle is to turn that new perspective into actual concrete action. Thinking differently is one thing, but acting differently is what really makes the magic happen. When you look at research on resilience, look at the words they use. Make connections, move toward goals, take action. They're all verbs, right? Resilience isn't something that just happens to you. It's about doing something, anything, to break that feeling of being stuck. Here's a really powerful real-life example. Just 6 weeks after her son died, a mother named Lori got on a bus to become an advocate for policy reform. That action, that gave her a purpose. It wasn't just about keeping busy. It was about creating meaning out of her loss and channeling that pain into something bigger than herself.
And look, action doesn't have to be some huge, grand gesture. It can just be systematic. The solved technique here is a perfect example from CBT. It gives you a clear, step-by-step way to take a massive, overwhelming problem and break it down into a manageable plan. It moves you from feeling helpless to feeling in control.
And that brings us to our third and final pillar. Because when you combine that reframed mindset with decisive action, something amazing starts to happen. You don't just bounce back to who you were before. You actually discover a whole new, deeper level of strength you never knew you had.
This is a concept called self-efficacy. Basically, every single time you face a challenge and get through it, your brain logs that as a win. It creates this powerful feedback loop. As one resilience expert put it, Even after something awful, just the fact that you survived it makes your brain think, okay, what else can I handle?
That's why it's so helpful to think of every challenge as a workout. It's like resistance training for your soul. Every hardship you get through, no matter how small, builds up your capacity to handle the next one. You're literally building psychological muscle.
And this growth, it's not just some fuzzy feeling. Psychologists have actually pinpointed these 5 key areas where people report real positive change after a crisis. They develop a deeper appreciation for life, their relationships get stronger, they discover that personal strength we've been talking about, and their whole outlook on what's possible in life just expands. This image of the iceberg just nails the whole idea, doesn't it? So much of our strength, our real resilience, is hidden way down deep, totally invisible, even to us. It's only when the storms hit that we find out what we're truly made of.
Okay, so after going through all of this, what's the big takeaway? How do we actually put this stuff to work and start forging our own future?
Well, it really boils down to this simple roadmap. Number 1, you have to take control of your story. Number 2, you have to turn that new story into real, purposeful action, even if it's small. And number 3, you've got to recognize that the very act of overcoming is what builds the strength you'll need for whatever's next. These 3 pillars all work together to turn hardship into an engine for growth.
At the end of the day, adversity is just part of being human. It's going to happen. It will leave its mark. So the real question post-traumatic growth asks us isn't if we'll face it, but what we're going to choose to build from its raw materials. That choice and that power, that's all yours.